All right, guys, it's that time. It is Rick Ginn, and you are on Flip with Rick, where all we do is talk about wholesaling. More importantly, how to get you started or how to get you reactivated in wholesaling. My name is Rick Ginn. I've been wholesaling for 21 years, and I freaking love this business. So today is a near and dear subject matter to me that I want to explain to each and every one of you. 50% of wholesalers will not survive in 2024. And I want to show you actions you can take today as we speak on this live stream so you don't become one of these victims. In fact, I think the number is much higher. But I know right off the bat, the people that get really excited about wholesaling and get into it, 50% of them will never even get through the first 30 days of it. How? Why? Blame it on the message being sent out there. Everything's so simple. It's easy. You can do it from your beach chair. And I'm here to tell you that's not really the case. So let's talk about how we can fix this. And this is really going to help people right now that are sitting on the fence, or maybe they've already quit. And I'm going to wake you up and kind of show you how this works. So the fundamentals of wholesaling have never been more true today than ever. It is a fundamental skill set. In my opinion, it is the highest skill set you can learn in wholesaling. So what I want you to do is use the comments. If you have a question, sorry about that. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments. And let me make sure my mic is working here. Let me double check. It looks like it's working. Awesome. So if you have a question, put it in the comments. And as usual, I will go ahead and put a link on here if you guys want to do a mastermind. I'm going to wait till like halfway so you guys don't have to sit here and stare at me while I'm talking about wholesaling. So let's get right into it. Number one, what's up, guys? How do we save ourselves from this ridiculous stat where 50% will leave? Well, the problem is most people come in with the dream. And listen, you can have all the vision you want, but at some point you're going to actually have to do some work. So I'm going to give you the simplest rule first. And the best way to survive in 2024 and not be a 50% stat, or in my opinion, closer to 90, 95%. Number one, don't quit. Like, I know it sounds so simple, but I'm here to tell you, once you quit, you have officially failed. Sorry. And the key ingredient for all great wholesalers is they decided not to quit, even though everything was pointing towards a direction of just quit. This includes myself, guys. I had countless sleepless nights. I had rough months. I'm sitting there, what the hell am I doing? And you have to understand the Stoic approach in this. Anything you truly want in life is going to take commitment. It's going to take hard work. In fact, unless you're one of these people who think you can just win the lottery and everything will be good in life, and it still won't be that great, you actually have to understand you have to do this. So number one, just don't quit. Once you quit, it's over. There's nothing I can do. I will admit, once you quit, you have failed. End of story. So the easiest solution to this is just don't quit. I know it sounds simplistic, but it is the absolute truth. Listen, guys, here's the absolute true statement. Anything worthwhile in life requires hard work. Give me an example in the comments right now, and I'm here to tell you is everything that's really worth it in life requires hard work. Think about it. Even having a child and giving birth to a child is absolutely a brutal experience on a woman's body. But they're willing to go through it to get the ultimate gain. Business is no different. In fact, the more challenging it is, the more rewarding it is. And that's why wholesaling gravitates so much to a guy like me with full-blown ADHD, because I love it. It is a massive challenge, and I get up every day and I fight through it. Now, if you guys tuned in earlier this week on Tuesday, I gave you some fundamental things to straighten out your head. So if you know that wholesaling is not hard, it's not like hard to do. The problem is most of us make it super complicated. So so everybody goes through life, you tell me if they don't, and they just say, well, how can I go around wholesaling? It sounds like it's going to be a lot of work. And that's how you guys wind up in novations. You wind up trying to use creative financing as your ultimate strategy. And by the way, creative financing does work. Novations, honestly, that has nothing to do with wholesaling. Go get your real estate license if you want to do that, because that's all you're really doing. You're being a pseudo realtor. But you guys find all these other things because you let people market you and say, why do the hard work in wholesaling? Anyone who tells you to avoid the hard work, I promise you, they're going to be broke. They're most likely not going to be in good physical shape. And they're steering you in a path that takes money out of your wallet, puts it in theirs, and you're only solving their financial problem. You're not solving your problem. So as I like to say, as Ryan Holiday says, and if you don't know who Ryan Holiday is, I want you to look it up. It's simple. I'm going to put a simple statement in front of you. The obstacle is the path. That's it. So, if wholesaling is like, oh my God, I got to put myself out there. It's a lot of hard work. I'm going to get rejected. That is the path. You see, so many people go through in life and they try to avoid anything that's hard. And here's how life rewards you for it. It makes it nagging and sitting in front of you, and it never goes away. So understanding the anxiety and the frustration of anything hard in life or anything that scares you, by going around and avoiding it like a little child does, you never grow as a person. And the truth of the matter is it actually gets worse. It becomes such overwhelming. You would just do better just going through it. And that's what I'm recommending everybody in wholesaling. The path of least resistance is to go through it. And a lot of you are tempted by doing all these other little tricks. They call it 2.0, 3.0 wholesaling. You call it whatever you want. The art of wholesaling is finding distressed sellers, distressed properties, and buying them at deep discounts and selling the contract to cash buyers. That is it. I don't complicate this business, but I find everybody around me tends to complicate it. So if we know the obstacle is the way, it is the path. There's an entire book on this. This philosophy was created over 2,000 years ago by some of the smartest philosophers ever. And it is still good today. So if it was good enough for them to run the Roman Empire, why can't I run an entire wholesaling business? Stop trying to avoid the work. By avoiding the work, you're actually going to pile up so much BS in your life. You're going to get nothing done. You're not going to get paid for it. And eventually you're going to wind up right back here. So guys, if you are new to this channel, do me a favor, go over to Free Wholesaling. This is a course me and my son have created 100% for free. I'm going to put it up here so you guys get a understanding. Where did I put it? I'm not there it is. Where is it? I put it on the bottom there. And I want you to understand, if you're just starting out wholesaling, go over there, teach you how to get your first deal. Not only that, how to get you your first $100,000. And we take the biggest obstacle most gurus throw in your path. They throw you like a ton of money. And I love when they think, well, you get what you pay for. Like, listen, no. All I do is give value. And I don't do like make-believe value. My value is I have over 10,000 plus testimonials. I've never solicited one person for them. Most people go on Wholesaling Houses for Real and put in their authentic feedback, and over 10,000 people can't be wrong. In fact, the fact that I don't take money from you means I can just tell you the truth. And that's what scares the hell out of most gurus about me and Zach. We just tell you the way it is. So make sure you go on over there, and let's get back to this. So if we understand the obstacle is the way, the obstacle is the path. And you guys, you check out Ryan Holiday, one of my favorite human beings on earth. Really amazing. So we all accept this. Anything worthwhile in life requires hard work. So if we know it requires hard work, we know the obstacle is the path, the way, and we don't quit. Okay, Rick, you're kind of telling me the obvious. Here's the problem is most of my conversations with you people are going over this stuff and reminding you why you're doing this. So one of the other things that you got to understand, if you're not going to quit, the biggest telltale sign when someone's about to quit or they're trying to find a way out, like, maybe I'll go back to my 9-to-5 job, and maybe that's what I need to do, is there is always one common denominator when you're frustrated. Think about in your past when you're frustrated about something. Think about it. What do? You start talking. You start losing your productivity talks like, how can I get the most motivated list? What is the best marketing medium? How much time and energy should I be spending on this? You even get away from that and your basic metrics to evaluate how many contracts am I writing? How many people am I actually contacting with? And you start going to the excuse train. And all the excuse train is a story you, and I mean you tell yourself. Because if the story is true to you and you acknowledge it in your mind with your ego, then it can't be you. It's just wholesaling is just no good. It's a scam and it doesn't work out. Now, I promise you, someone's going to voice clip that and throw that back out somewhere on social media, and you have to use it in context. The problem is if you keep telling yourself that same old story, that broken record, and you keep making up excuses are just for you. They don't help me out. They don't help Zach out. They don't help out anybody in the industry, not your title company, not your lawyer, not your VA, nobody on the internet. But I will tell you, there is a huge predominance of people who just want to make excuses, want to complain, and just gossip on the internet. And if you're doing that, you've got to stop it. Honestly, you're getting short-term gain and you're going to get long-term pain from it. Short-term means it feeds your ego. It fits your narrative. And when it fits your narrative, you're like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. And I'm telling you, if you keep doing that, you're going to get killed. Lose your excuses. Wholesaling, it just doesn't care. As beautiful as wholesaling doesn't care about your background, it doesn't care about your education, it doesn't care about your financial ineptness. It doesn't care what religion you are, where you came from. If you grew up poor, you grew up rich. Wholesaling doesn't care. But there's a caveat to it. Wholesaling doesn't care about your excuses. It will not listen to your excuses, and it sure the hell is not going to acknowledge them. So if you understand that, I just want you to understand, whenever you make an excuse, even if you have a valid excuse, stop yourself. So the first thing you have to do, if you make a lot of excuses in life, and I did this when I was younger, you, number one, have to recognize when you're doing it. That is the toughest part. Once you recognize, go, crap, that's an excuse. What's an excuse? It is a story you tell yourself to fit your narrative why you want to do something. You ever had this person in your life that asks you, hey, what do you think about this? And you tell them the truth and they don't like it. What do? They go to the next person. They ask. They're going to ask 50 people until somebody agrees with their narrative. Now, if you take my approach, my stoic approach, it says, ask somebody that, number one, that's walked a mile in your shoes, somewhere you want to get ahead with. Number two, ask them for honest feedback. And then you have to decide, take that feedback as a third party sitting on the side on a bench. Don't be in your ego. Be outside. You got to lose your ego. Once you lose your ego, ask yourself, how does that affect me, what they say? And can I implore this to make my wholesaling business better? Instead of reacting, here's the difference, guys. Learn how to respond to people and stop reacting to them. So how do I do this? I first have to lose all my excuses. Excuses are stories. They get you nowhere. They don't solve any problems. And honestly, it's a huge waste of everyone's time. So if you come on a live with me and give me an excuse, I'm going to put up a shield. I'm going to push it back to you. I'm going to go find somebody who wants to work on solutions. Make a choice. You want to do solutions or excuses? You can't do both. You can either have a million excuses or you can make $1 million. I promise you, you can't do both. Once you understand this, nothing can stop you in wholesaling. But if you're always going to, I'm not going to use the language, come up with BS excuses, nobody can help you. Nobody, not me, not Zach, nobody else, because you're going to believe your story over anybody else's. And guys, what is the definition of the truth? Think about this. The truth is how you perceive something. That's it. And that's one of the biggest problems a lot of people have. The excuse train gets so out of control in this business. And most of you guys find it out on the, you go on the World Wide Web and you guys do it in the comments. I love your comments in here because most of you guys are trying to help each other and support each other. But every now and then I get an idiot that makes ridiculous comments and they're just not part of our crowd. And that's fine. And what they'll do is they'll jump site to site to site until they find someone that will accept their narrative. Because I don't take your money, I can just tell you the truth. It is a freeing, it's so freeing to do what I do. And that's why very few other people can do what we do at Wholesaling with me and Zach, because the more people I can help out, the more people I can show the way to be successful and show them techniques that actually work from a successful wholesaler today, not just 20 years ago, then the more people that are success, the more deals I do, the more deals we partner up on, and the more money I make. You see how it works? Where a coaching program is, let me take the money now. And they all come and go, and they just come and go, and they come and go, and you wait for the next greatest thing. So the more you can hold back, whoever can hold their breath the longest in this business is really who's going to win. And that's what we try to do here. So if we know we're going to lose our excuses, this one's what, there's no shortcuts. Just attack your obstacles. The less shortcuts you have, the better. And guys, I'm going to keep the training today short because my goal is to talk. I'm going to see if I can talk to as many people as I humanly possibly can and help out with the problem. So when I put the link up here shortly, which actually, let's just go ahead and do that now because you know I'm going to forget because my ADHD kicks in. So I'm going to put it under comments under Rick Ginn. And if you want to jump on a live and you're not going to give me excuses and you want to find solutions or you want to work on a deal or heck, you just want to ask me a question, I just put it up there for you. So, somebody says, hey, Rick, I agree with you. Coaching program is not ideal. What I'm saying is coaching and wholesaling has probably been one of the most abused industries over the last 20 years. The worst I've ever seen. The only thing worse than that maybe might be day trading, but nobody tells you the truth. And by the way, guys, if you hire a one-on-one, I would really seriously consider, does that person value their time? I could not do one-on-ones even if I wanted to. And honestly, if I did, I would probably, unless I was raising money for a charity, I just don't know how that would be the highest and best use of my time. So, okay, let's jump back here. You guys are jumping on first come, first serve. So if there's no shortcuts, if you can't do a shortcut, you just got to take the path. And I'm going to tell you, the path is bumpy. It's a little bit crazy, but at the end, I tell you, it is absolutely amazing. The reality is most people can't handle the short-term pain to do the long-term gain. This is why I talk you guys to death about being a marathon runner. Marathon runners know there is no shortcut. A shortcut is cheating, and you're never going to get anywhere. They would never buy a program to cut their time in half. Instead, they train every day, and they just do the work. And at the end of the race, they get a reward. Think about, you guys ever do cold plunges? I think they're absolutely amazing. To me, it is the greatest metaphor to wholesaling and your physical being. Why? Cold plunges suck. I've never seen someone goes, man, I can't wait to get in that cold plunge. The cold plunge, the event is actually terrible. Nobody wants to sit in freezing water. But what it does, the short term is extremely painful. The long-term gain, inflammation's down. The fastest calorie burn per minute you can get in anything in life. It creates an automatic endorphins that will run you for the next 4 to 8 hours. And guys, depending on how long you do it, 5, 7 minutes, it is torture while you do it, but the gain is so worth it. So 5, 7 minutes of torture, whatever your tolerance is, to get 8 hours of benefit without harming your body, without doing drugs, alcohol, or eating crap that's processed. That's why people do it. So why don't we just do the same analogy with wholesaling? It's going to be painful when you first get in. I'm sorry. You know why it's painful? Because you're just uncomfortable. And that's the analogy I want you to understand. So if a cold plunge is the obstacle, the way, think about wholesaling as the same thing. And you guys are constantly reminded about shortcuts and softwares that will save you so much energy and time. Some of them do, but you still have to do the work. You still have to meet with sellers. You still have to talk to them. You still have to engage them. In fact, your job by the end of the day is very, very simple. Ready? People always like, well, Rick, how do I progress and move forward even when I'm completely frustrated? And listen, you're going to have bad days. Sorry, we all have them. So the question is, when it comes to bad days, there's days that I just don't want to work out. And to be honest with you, the older I get, there's more days. There's a lot of days I just literally don't want to work out. Those are the days that I have to dig inside me and just do it. The same thing with wholesaling. There's some days I just don't want to do the paperwork. I don't want to sit down there and review all the accounting and the taxes. But for me to get where I want to go, I have to go through some of the short-term pain, no different than you guys doing. So what do I ask myself every day? A simple question. If you're on the fence and you're struggling, you have a bad day, I just want you to go like this. If you can just make yourself 1% better a day. Oh, well, that's not much. Guys, it adds up really quick. And the thing is, everybody thinks progress is this perfect straight line going up. And I'm here to tell you, it's all over. Sometimes you got to take 2 steps backwards to go 4 steps forward. And that's what it's going to require in wholesaling. So I ask people, when you start getting frustrated or you start your excuse train, number 1, recognize it. Number 2, ask yourself the question, like you were sitting on a bench and you were observing somebody having a conversation, and go, listen, did I do my best today? And can I do better tomorrow? And here's the crazy part. You actually have to be brutally honest with yourself and say, I messed up today. I made a wrong turn and it hurt, but here's what I'm doing in the future to fix it. And if you do that, you can move forward. Now, simply asking your question at the end of the day, this is my biggest KPI I can share with you. Everyone's like, how many? The metrics are important, guys. Don't get me wrong. The amount of leads you have, the amount of contacts you make, the amount of appointments you set, the amount of physical ones you go on, the amount of contracts you write, the deals you got. I get it. It's important. I got it. But ask yourself this metric. Did you do your best today? And do you have it in you to be brutally honest when you don't? Some of us can't. But that's the part of wholesaling. Until you become truthful with yourself, it's a challenge. In fact, because you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss, you're your own CEO, you're your own receptionist, you're your own psychologist, you're the own accounting. Your communication within your departments have to be brutal. Because once you start lying to yourself, like, where do you stop? It doesn't stop. And I want you to understand, the most important part of what you can do in this business, you ready? Being truthful to yourself. I'm willing to tell you right now, that everybody watching this is not being truthful with themselves. How do I know it? I know it. I've been this person. So many of you are so concerned about telling everybody else your perfect story. Fine, do it if you want to do it. Lying is never going to help you about anything. But more importantly, you guys need to be accountable to yourself first. Because if you can't tell yourself the truth, how are you going to fix the problem? If you're struggling in wholesaling, and here's one of my favorite terms. Rick, I've tried everything. I've thrown the kitchen sink at wholesaling. Really? Is that really the truth? Or is that some BS excuse you're making up to validate your story why you're going to quit wholesaling? If it is, remember, whatever you believe is the truth. Isn't George Costanza says that in Seinfeld? If you believe it, it's not a lie. That's the problem. Some of you guys believe your own crap. Be honest with yourself. If you're only calling 10 people a day, I don't need to go any further to find out why you're not succeeding in wholesaling. In fact, I'm here to tell you, there is 3 simple cures to wholesaling. I already shared one of them, so I let the cat out of the bag because I couldn't hold it anymore. The 3 simple cures that I will tell anyone who's struggling with wholesaling, and you guys might want to write these down. Don't worry. It's recorded. It's a live event. We're in March. What's today? The 28th of 2024. So part of me is I have to be truthful to you. Am I doing a live? Yes or no? Am I going to tag it as a live and say it's not? No. You guys are too smart for that. And you lose authenticity when you do that. I need more than views. I need you guys to align with my philosophy. I could care less. And those that don't, then that's fine. They can go somewhere else. There's plenty of gurus who will take your money and lie to you. I'm not going to do it. So what are the 3 cures? Number 1, high volume of leads. Whatever you think you're doing, 10x it. Because honestly, most of you don't have enough leads to work. Let's face it, you got started in wholesaling. You went from 0, you're trying to get to 100 miles an hour. Let's get to mile 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 before you get to 100. Let's go out and get our government list. Let's go through freewholesaling.com. Let's make an effort to get this thing rolling. But the reality is you're going to have to 10x your results. Yeah, I give Grant Cardone, that's his 10x thing, but it is truth. Great book if you read it, by the way, 10x. Whatever you're doing, 10x whatever you're doing, because it's not enough. 9 out of 10 wholesalers, I can have this conversation with you. And honestly, it took me years to understand this. Whatever you're doing, I'm just telling you when it comes to leads. Somebody said the other day, I talked to 23 sellers. I attempted to call 23 sellers on the phone the other day. I go, well, how many did you connect with? 2? You need 100x what you're doing, not 10x. So be honest about that. Number 2, you're actually going to have to do something. I'm sorry. I know this is crazy. You're just going to have to take massive amount of action. That means going out, putting yourself out there, talking to sellers, meeting with sellers, writing contracts, going and getting government lists. Yes, you're going to get rejected. People aren't going to be nice to you. It's going to be hot outside. It's going to be cold outside. So remember, those are just excuses. You can't let it get in the way. You are the difference maker. You're the one who pushes the business. So you have to take a massive action. I didn't put consistency on there because to me, it should just be consistent. You should be doing this the entire time. So consistency is a big key in it. So if we know we need high volume 10x, we need to take an incredible amount of action. We just can't sit in our basements or whatever we're doing. We're going to actually have to do something. And the last thing is you're going to have to tell yourself the truth, because if it's not working, I think everybody would agree on this live stream. If you tell yourself the truth, I mean the truth, the real truth, like look, and here's how you view the truth. You've got to almost have an outer body experience. And imagine you're your brother or sister sitting next to you and they're observing you. What would you say about them? And start asking you questions. Here's an example. Say somebody has a run-in with me, a confrontation, and say I get upset about it. Maybe my feelings get hurt. Instead of, you got a choice. You can respond or you can react. What percentage of people think react? Probably 90% of people react. React is just when you go with your raw emotion and you don't filter it. Sometimes that's a good thing, but for the most part, it's usually very bad because you just telegraph your signals to everybody and you can't manage it. So here's a technique you do. Respond, react. Most of you react. If you want to respond, the only way to respond is you have to hit a mental pause button in your head. You know that big annoying red Staples button that said, I guess it was the easy button. It's a big pause button. So if you feel that you're going to react, and you already know you do, hit the pause button. Wait 5 to 10 seconds before you do it. Let that raw emotion go by and ask yourself the internal questions. Why is what he or she said to me affecting me like this? You can usually tie it to an event in your life, a lot of times from childhood. And number 2, what can I do with this information to make the situation better? If you can do all 3 of those, pause, ask yourself the honest question as a third party, and then choose how you're going to respond to it, your entire trajectory of wholesaling will completely change. See, I can tell when someone reacts to me. It just means they don't have the discipline. They don't have the mental wherewithal to understand, to compose themselves to attack this in a civilized manner. You ever wonder why 2 couples or 2 business partners, once you start screaming why do people scream at each other? Why? Because they feel like they're not being heard. And I've learned once 2 people start screaming, nothing gets accomplished. Nothing. Now, easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. But I'm here to tell you, you got to have the same approach. When people get really excited when it comes to wholesaling, I have to take a look back and go, do I want to do business with a person like this that cannot control their emotions and their outputs, and all they do is react? Now, I'm used to it with motivated sellers, as you guys are, But when it comes to business partners, I will never, ever tolerate it. And that's why we all try to set up healthy boundaries. But being truthful to yourself, let me ask you this. If you can't tell yourself the truth, how can you fix a problem? Say I'm overweight. We could all shed a few pounds, to be brutally honest. You go, no. So my mom, God rest her soul, used to tell me, Rick, you're a little big boned. And that was just her way of being a mom and loving me. And I love her for that. I love all moms that do that. But that didn't do me any favors. It made me almost like go over it and not deal with it. Whereas if I sat back, I'm like, why are people calling me this or that? Now, I was never a huge guy, but I let my weight get up there in college because I had no checks and balances. And what happens is, instead of taking the information, go like, Rick, you're looking a little plumpier than normal. Like, okay, why are they saying this about me? And what can I do to make the situation better? And how did I get like this? That's it. And if I do that, then I can respond to them and I can do it or react. And then what do people do? Like, well, you're no slim person yourself. And you kind of keep doing that. What I'm telling you is make a decision. Do you want to react like everyone else does, or do you want to respond? The only way you can deal with that is you have to deal with the inner truth. We all have stuff about us that we're not crazy about, and we're all working on a daily basis. And the beauty is the talk's inside your head. So if you can't be honest with yourself, there's no way to fix a problem. If you're overweight and you tell yourself you're not overweight, then you're right. You can't fix the problem. You can't adjust your physical activity, your food intake, and it'll be a problem for the rest of your life until it takes you out. And it's the same thing in wholesaling. If you don't have enough deals, are you being honest with yourself? Have you done everything? How many people have you contacted? Give me your worksheet on your marketing plan and show me how we've tracked the results and how we're growing. And I get it, the first month or two, you kind of winged it, but now you decided to run it as a business. And once you understand that, you can do anything. Guys, the key here is, as I said, as usual, just don't quit. If you don't quit, you still have a chance in wholesaling. And by the way, I've mentally quit so many times, I just stopped keeping record in my heads. And that was all within my first 4 or 5 years. I'm on year 21. Why? Because I didn't quit. That's the only difference. Did I feel like quitting? Hell yeah. Like I had some days where I just didn't want to do this business anymore, but they too shall come and pass. So we've all had bad days. We've all had bad things happen in our life. And that's why it's called life. It's going to come at you no matter what. So regardless of how you find wholesaling, if you can understand this comment, you will win no matter what, as long as you don't quit. The only way you fail is when you quit. Once you quit, there's nothing I can do. And to try to get that momentum and that energy going back up after you quit, it sucks. So a lot of you go, well, the train kind of stopped in 2021 or 2022. And I kind of pull back. I made it easy. Let's be brutally honest. You made a ton of money in wholesaling when it was super easy and you didn't follow the fundamentals. And now you've basically told yourself the story that wholesaling is really hard and it's getting much harder and saturated. And that way I'm going to wait till it gets better. Wholesaling is never about timing it. Just like stocks, either buy a stock, a company you believe in, and then come back in a couple of years and you usually be very happy. Wholesaling is the same thing. That I've made a ton of money in smoking real estate markets and bottom of the line markets. Wholesaling doesn't matter. We do not speculate. We make money today. How? We find distressed sellers, we find distressed properties, and we cultivate a conversation to get the lowest price so we can sell the properties quickly while minimizing our risk. There is no greater business, in my own opinion, than wholesaling. It's the number one skill set you can learn in real estate, because if you master wholesaling, you can easily master any of the others. I've yet to find a realtor or a pure realtor or a pure fix and flipper that can master wholesaling. They don't have the stomach. They think it's absolutely crazy. Now, the other way around, you can master any way you want. But why would you ever want to become a realtor or a fix and flipper if you're really good at wholesaling? Fix and flipping is an entirely different business strategy. The only thing synonymous with fix and flip and wholesaling is most fix and flippers find their deals through wholesalers. And that's it. End of story. So don't quit. It's that simple. Okay, let's jump on. Let me answer some questions here, and we'll jump out on the live. So you guys are active. So Logan hits the nail on the head here. In order for you to succeed, you have to fail. I agree. I kind of look back through my, I don't know, with college, I guess 16, 17 years of formal education training. My God, you could have condensed the whole thing in like 4 years, and I could have made a ton of money while doing it. I learned all the stuff that's. Hey guys, put in the comments, tell me the most ridiculous courses you took in your education period. I learned how to sew in home economics. I don't know what good that ever did for me. Some of the math courses I took to this day, I don't understand why I need to know a cone and a spear. Geometry really tore me up. Trigonometry tore me up. And I don't even want to talk about calculus because I would pay all these people to do it. In fact, nobody taught me how to invest money. Actually, you're crickets to the day. Even in college to a point, other than basic economics and stuff, there's no advanced investing strategies. From real estate, stocks, bonds, digital assets, any of that stuff. There's like, you all have to figure it out on your own. And honestly, that's where you learn the most value of like what you're doing. So I would love to hear some of the crazy courses that I look back at some of the courses I took. I'm like, I took a QMB course. I'm like, what the hell was that? Now I did take one real estate course in college, and it did teach me how to look at a HUD, but they were trying to recruit me to become a realtor. So, and this is a summary. Our school system is so general, and that's why we're all sitting here talking. So I love the technology we have. I believe schools are going to change radically if they want to like come into a common age, because I think a lot of other countries are going to outpace us, because what's being taught in schools to me is 50 years behind what the learning curve is. It's ridiculous. So I used to kind of laugh at people that did homeschooling, and now like I think they actually had it right the entire time. So a big part of what we do is you can't be so staunch that you decide you're right every time. A real man, a real woman decides, you know what? I now have enough information. I made a bad decision at the time, and I've changed my thought. It's fine. In fact, changing your mind, as long as you don't waffle every day and you have a core philosophy, changing your mind is healthy, because as you get more information and you evolve a life, you go, okay, that was stupid. Like, think about it, guys. We used to do crazy stuff in high school, all stupid to a point. Not all of it. You know what I mean? So, okay. So let's jump on and we can do some lives here. Guys, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com if you want to learn all about wholesaling. Once again, I have nothing to sell you to there. I won't require a credit card. It just requires your firm commitment to actually do the work. So let's jump into it. Let's get going. Let's see who needs some help. So remember, guys, no complaining on here, because I can't help complainers. There's nothing I can do with that. So Isaiah, what's going on, man?
Hey Rick, how's it going?
Good, man. What's up, man? You're I saved the best for first.
Hell yeah. So I'm dealing with this fire damage property right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have it under contract or anything, but when I'm going and I'm talking to the seller, trying to, just understand everything, follow MCTP, I was trying to get the repair cost, because I know that you guys mentioned that insurance gives a estimate.
Yes.
And when I asked for this, she was just like, oh, well, I estimated to be 110. I was like, okay, whatever. And then she was like, well, it costs more for you guys to do it. You guys shouldn't need that. And I'm still going to go through and make an offer, because I'm going for no. So regardless, it's going to be a good deal as long as it gets closed. But I was just kind of confused on what do I do from there.
So honestly, most times situation, they just give it to you because they don't get, you understand fire damage is beyond your typical scope of work. And so you have to kind of get, and so there's two types. So the fire department usually gets an estimate. It's not that great. It's like the police department. When you get in a car accident, they go, I don't know, there's $5,000 worth of damage. I'm like, dude, it just straight over. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't put a lot of stock in that. I ask it from the homeowner nicely because that's the only person you're ever going to get it from. You're not going to get it from anyone else. And they typically, what do they have to really hide on you? Like the problem with the fire damage property, I don't even have the ability to tell you what the repairs on it because it's very different. Like you have to tie stuff in depending on the level of the fire. So like how bad's the fire on this property?
Really, really bad. I have a bunch of photos of it.
So
I estimated.
just hit her with the go for no then. Like she's giving you permission to hit her with the lowest number. And listen,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I.
yeah, if she goes like this, Isaiah, listen, I don't know, I can't do that low of a number. I go, I tell you what, if you could share that estimate, if you could share the insurance estimate, that would really help. I might be able to come up in my number. And I would just use it as trade bait. But that's the deal with fire damage properties. And you can't make the seller give it to you when they're like that. Most people that want to sell the property will share that information. Because here's the reality. If the property is worth 300 grand and say there's $100,000 in damage, you agree you can't buy that property for 200, right? You can't. That's if everything goes perfect and then I pay all the carrying costs and everything. There's got to be a discount on it. And so keep it in mind. Some people, when they do that, they think they're just going to minus off the repair estimates and that's what you buy it for. No, there is a convenience fee. There is, why do I want to put up with this crap? Because if you just minus off the fees, nobody would buy it because there's no incentive to take that deal down, which you going to have to provide to your cash buyer. So just use the go for no. And if she overreacts to that, go, well, listen, remember when I asked you to share the insurance estimate, that might allow me to come up in my offer. Do you have that? And just kind of go from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
Okay. Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Isaiah gets right down to business, which I really, really enjoy. So let's jump over here. Kelly, what's going on, man?
Hey, Rick, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just here at my normal 9 to 5.
Okay.
I had just a couple questions for you. So I'm actually in Hillsborough County, working like around the Tampa, Brandon area,
Awesome.
and I've pulled a few months in a row. I've pulled the code violations list.
Mhm.
Now, every time they send me like about 12,000 names going all the way back to 2003. So I just spent some time cleaning up that list. But like this past one, I had like 5 violations for the entire month of March. In your experience, is there usually like a city code violation office? Because all I've found so far is just county.
So counties aren't that good. So they're typically going to be tied in your city, and the best way to do it is they're usually going to be very close in proximity to building permits. Anything requiring a permit, they're usually tied into it because that's basically what code violations do. It's basically gives you a violation and you've got to get a pseudo permit to get it fixed. And so most of them are tied to city buildings, permits, building departments, and a lot of times the police department's attached to it too.
Okay, so yeah, I'll check that out. See if I can find one for like Brandon and Tampa.
The other smaller counties, they'll run everything through the county because it's more cost effective. But counties they deal with the really major like bad stuff. That's why you're only going to get 5 or 6. But and some of them are just technical.
Yeah, it was weird. There's like only 12,000.
Yeah, no, but yeah, go with the city because it's usually a pretty big one, and you want to look for the open ones. And then you're in Florida, so I need to tell you, we don't have any snow here, so it's going to be down the landscaping and deferred maintenance, and you just got to sort through all the codes. So I went to college in Hillsborough, and so like Tampa, and I know Tampa's so damn big right now, though. It's like I can't get over it every time I get over there. And by the way, Tampa is kind of one of the original like wholesaling backgrounds back in the early 2000s. Most the people that taught wholesaling were out of the Tampa area. So you got like
I see a lot of bandit signs still.
Yeah, there's some really cool people in that area, but there's a lot of older timers that did really well, and I worked with a lot of them, and I spent a lot of time in Tampa. Plus, my daughter went to school over there. I went to school over there, and then I actually lived there for a couple summers with my father way back when. So I love the area. It's just, man, you got your traffic, man, is scary now. Ooh,
Oh, it's terrible.
it's
It
terrible.
takes you 45 minutes to go anywhere.
No, I know, but it's like when I hear Tampa, it's like Miami. When people say Miami, they don't understand how far geographically it's spread out. And the same thing with Tampa. It's like, so I like it that you have all those little outlying cities like Lakeland's come real popular, the Bradenton area, all that stuff. So we used to never touch any of that stuff because it didn't make sense. Now, I believe we're eventually going to tie it from east to west coast, other than Lake Okeechobee and like where all the farmlands are in between. But people are just running out of places to live now. It's crazy. So
Yeah, it's gotten bad. And then I had a question about probates for you. I was an executor of my father's estate, but that was up in Georgia, and I know things can kind of be different. I went to the local clerk of the court, and they seemed baffled when I asked about a list of probate filings. So a whole lot of back and forth. Make a long story short, they eventually ended up sending me a Google Drive link that has never expired, and I get daily updates on probate filings. Now, it's kind of hard to tell like what's just people like doing business in probates. And so I've just been going through, and anytime I see an address, I just compare it on PropStream, and I look it up in either True People Search or Cyber Background Checks, just to kind of verify that the probate is in the name of a deceased person and that that there is property. And then I send them one of the letters that you guys have, just kind of with my market name and stuff.
Do you identify who the PR is in there?
No, it doesn't really have a PR. It'll have who is like requesting to do business, but on some of the filings for a single like probate case, it'll have like 5 entries and 3 different names.
Yeah.
So I haven't had much luck with that, but what I've been doing is if there's multiple properties attached to the probate, I've just been sending letters to all 3 of them, or however many addresses, just to try and cover my bases. But I was going to ask, at least here in Florida and like in the Hillsborough County area, from my understanding and like the way we were able to do things in Georgia when I was the PR for my father's estate, basically instead he didn't have a will, so it was messy. But what we ended up doing was getting the deed put in the estate's name through the probate court, and then we liquidated like his investments, we liquidated his properties and considered them like investments, and then those payouts went into the estate account, and then the estate account was able to then disperse the funds to the heirs of the estate. Is this something kind of similar here in Florida?
Yeah, so let me explain it. So let me go to the first part of your question is, so you have a link to, you get the probate case, like a case number and like the judge assigned to it?
Yeah.
So
I get an updated link every day.
Obviously get the name of the deceased person in there, right?
Yeah.
So the only clue that you need to add to that is find out if there is a PR. The PR gives you some makes it more personable when you mail them a letter or you cold call them. So if you can get that, so if you don't know how to get that, 1 of 2 ways, talk to your title company. They'll usually navigate you through it. And then worst case scenario, talk to maybe someone through your title company that is associated with a lawyer, because so just so you know, all lawyers in the state of Florida, they have access to Benchmark, which they can look at any case on file. So way back when I just cut a deal with a lawyer. Yes, they'll cut you a deal. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because it's complicated, but they just want to get paid. Number 2, as I said, go through your title company, because they kind of tell you that I guarantee someone else has gone to them like, how do I access this file? So remember, when you approach a court system, they can't understand why you want to look past one probate file. So when you ask for hundreds of them, they're like, the hell you need this for? That's their common response when I get it. And remember, you're looking for a docket. A docket is what's on the judge's schedule. So if he's a probate judge, then he has a docket. A docket is is basically like your Google Calendar, what's going on each day, what time are the cases, and who are the cases and the case numbers. So if you use the word docket, sometimes you'll get a little bit better. As far as the familiarity in Florida, it's a little bit different in Florida. It's pretty straightforward. Once a PR is assigned to a probate, the personal representative, they have the same legal authority as the deceased person. So if you can find the PR, that's hugely valuable because you can get to them faster. The best way to do that is look in the probate docket. Number two, verify the deceased person owns property within that particular county. Not everybody in probate owns property. A lot of people don't know that. Now, you can mail to the estate of John Doe, and that's fine. It'll get to the PR. It's just not as personable. And that's a way you can do it if you don't want to go through the hassle of looking up the PR. But once you get the PR, your job is do a direct line approach with them. A lot of people think you have to go through the probate lawyer. It's the last thing you want to do. It is the roadblock. So this is the one time where the attorney is not the way. They are not the path. They are the biggest. They are a hard steel frame door, and they're going to screw you over if you try to go through them. What I try to do is reach out to the PR. I listen to their story. I spend time and I listen carefully, and then I explain what I can do. And here's my pitch in Florida, and I do this all over the country, is what if I could show you how you could sell the property before the probate is completed? Is that something you want to explore? Simple yes or no. Most people go absolutely yes. Now, I don't tell them how to do it. I set an appointment and I go meet with them, and I use that for an opportunity. Remember, you got to leave somewhat of a mystery in life. If you try to tell everybody what you do on a postcard, a flyer, a website, you leave no room for error. Like, they're not doing what I want to do. So when they go, yeah, I would love to hear more about it, then I set an appointment and I meet with them. Now, here's the key to this. If the PR enters into a purchase and sales agreement with you, and my recommendation is use the state-approved FAR in the state of Florida, they're like 10 to 13 pages. Why? Because it passes the lawyer's test and it passes a realtor's test if they look at it. I strike an agreement, they sign it. They sign it as the personal representative for the estate of John Doe. Now you have a full valid contract that's locked in that nothing the attorney can do to discount it. Now, if you try the other way and you try to go through the attorney, guess what they're going to do? They're going to roadblock you. Well, yeah. I don't know if that offers fair to my client. Their job is not to assess real estate. Their job is to go through a court proceeding for probate. Well, I tell you what, let's get it appraised and find out. I'll call my friends an appraiser. They charge $750 for the appraisal. By the way, they only pay $200 to $300 for the appraisal, and they pocket the difference. You see the endless amount of crap where they can make money. It never stops. Then they have their friends present a listing agreement, and it's going to be way off your number. Most of these properties need a lot of help, and they need a cash buyer. So if you go direct to the PR and you get an agreement, once the lawyer tries to run an interference, now you have two steel walls up. As long as you follow the law, there's nothing you can do to screw it up. If you try to get permission from the lawyer, you're going to fail most of the time doing it. And most lawyers fall asleep on this, and they don't like this tactic, but I don't care. Another common thing is they go, listen, I tell you what, Rick, I like everything you're saying. I want to run it by my lawyer. I've learned don't resist it and say, absolutely not. You look like a scam artist. Here's what I do. I said, Donna, that is a great idea, and I would probably do the same. So here's what I want to do is I can give you the contract, but I just want to make sure you're okay that we close this as soon as possible, possibly before the probate's done, as long as we can show we can do that through the court action. And number two, I want to make sure you and me are 100% solid on the price. Are we okay at $200,000? Yes. So no matter what the lawyer says, you're okay with the $200,000. Absolutely. I'll probably do it another day. Okay, $200K, because I don't want to argue this back and forth. Now when the lawyer comes back and goes, yeah, $200,000 is unacceptable. Guess what? Here's what your seller's going to do. No, I already have an agreement with Rick for the 200 grand. Like, I'm good with that. Is there anything else you see it's a problem? Once you anchor your basic terms, the lawyer's just going to find little technical BS stuff. Give it to him. Who cares? But if you don't anchor the price and do this stuff, you're going to get killed by the lawyer. Lawyers hate when investors like you and me get in the way. And a lot of times I tell them, hey, listen, I'll send it to you. You can either send a blank contract or put in the price. And then 2 weeks goes by and she goes, the lawyer won't respond. He hasn't done anything. I want to move forward. I go, it's up to you. You want to sign an agreement, he can still review it. And 50% of the time they sign the agreement without even running it by the lawyer because the lawyer's busy. And I take full advantage of it. Not my problem. You're already charging them an obscene price to do all this stuff. So the best way to do it in Florida is try to get a contract signed with the PR and try to do it without the attorney. When they go, listen, I want to involve my attorney, that's fine. Do the anchoring technique to make sure when the attorney brings it up, it's no big deal. And then once you do that, then you just move forward. I know people, like, they don't want to share it with the attorney. It doesn't look good when you do that. It looks like you're hiding something, and we don't want to do that. So, and then put it on a regular FAR bar contract. I know they're a pain in the butt, but remember, guys, a contract on a cocktail napkin or a 25-page contract from a lawyer or a real estate agent, they're all the same thing. And that's it. I love.
Yeah, one of the title companies I had reached out to, they didn't want to do anything but the FAR bar.
What do you mean?
So, like, even for wholesaling deal, like one of the title companies I'd reached out to, granted, they stopped responding to me after I'd reached out to them for information. I got someone on the phone for a little bit, but they said that for wholesaling deals, they only wanted to deal with the FAR bar contract because they said that was a legitimate contract. So I was like,
Okay. So the word legitimate, it's not their job to decide. I've bought a property on a cocktail napkin. You only need 5 to 6 considerations to be a legal contract. There's no law saying it has to be on this set. And by the way, if you Google on the internet, there's 3 billion types of contracts. And that's the problem with title companies is once you know they don't want to do business with you, don't do business with them. Like, give them what they want.
Yeah.
Just let them move on with it. So are you clear on the probate?
Yeah, I believe so. I just gotta try and get a hold of finding that PR because, like I said, I was the PR of my dad's estate, and so I have some experience with that kind of stuff. At least how to talk with those people, and be personable and everything. But yeah, I didn't think about using the FAR bar contract to kind of get over the roadblock of the attorney. So I appreciate that advice.
You got it.
Other than that, I think that's it for me, Rick.
Let me know if you need anything else, man. You got it. Get that PR.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll help out a lot. Okay. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. See you. Ari, what's going on?
What's going on, Rick? How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks for asking. Just have a quick question about, I found this probate that happens to be, she, looks like she may have figured out the whole probate process after a couple of months. They have 10 years. So basically she said that she's saying that she's been in touch with about 4 to 5 other people that are interested in the property. And I haven't quite been able to figure out like her, like how desperate is she, looking to sell the property.
Okay.
So basically she's telling me that she's gonna, the best price is what she's gonna take for it. It's an old house. It's a duplex. The question is, if I haven't been able to figure out her real issue, like why she's, something that I could work with, do I just throw in an offer, a lowball offer, and hope it sticks, or not really?
That's all you can do. But like, keep in mind when a seller tells you it a lot of times they are telling you the truth. If it's just price and she's only interested in the highest and best price, here's how I counteract them. Why don't you just list it with a realtor? And I just shut up. Why? Because you might as well get it out of the way. Because when anyone's out talking about price, I promise you they've talked to a realtor. And a lot of times I come back and I go, well, the realtor said the property's kind of rough. I'm not sure if I can get you top dollar because of this, this, and that. And a lot of times, sometimes that's why they talk to you. Remember, at the end of the day, the faster you get to the truth, the faster you can solve a problem. One of the most frustrating parts of wholesaling is people don't always tell you the truth. Well, that's just people in general. Not that you want to live that way or I want to do it, but we have to deal with people like that. And the sooner I can get to the truth, I feel like I can solve a problem and help people out. When they don't tell you the truth, you have to become a human lie detector. And in wholesaling, you learn after a certain amount of time. When they keep using the word price, if they use it multiple times, it usually means that's what they want. Now, it might not be them. It might be a spouse. It might be a dire financial situation. They need X amount of dollars. And remember, we can't always do that. Here's another line that helps you out. when people get way off course, this is when they make me a little bit nervous. Rick, I need $280,000 because I got to put my mom in a retirement home, and that's what I need to fund it. Whoa, wait a minute. I bet your mom's incredible, and I want the absolute best for her. But Becky, we have to see what the house can afford. Do you mind if we take a look at that? Remember, here's what people want. Here's what people need. Like, and then here's what people want. Perfect. I had someone the other day. It's a true story. Old friend of mine. And I try to help friends out every now and then I can. But remember, I don't give loans to people. If it's a gift, it's a gift. That way I don't get disappointed. They go, I need $10,000 to do this, 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 and this. I go, oh, hold on. You just want me to write you a check for 10 grand? And at the end of it, after a 5-minute conversation, because we were childhood friends, at the end of it, he needed $4,700 to fund a particular training he needed to get the job he wants. Do you see how they asked me for 10 grand and then we get 4,700? If my own friends will lie to me, like, why do I think a seller's not going to do the same thing? And once we understand that, we can get to the truth. Because here's what I say. I go, well, who's the company? Where's the tuition? Where's the website? And we get down to it, show it to me. And like, I go, how do we get from 10 grand to 4,700? He goes, well, I figured living expenses and food. I go, I'm not paying for all that crap. I'll help you out. I go, but I'm just going to do that. And you pay me back when you see fit. Between you and me, I know I'm never seeing the money again. But like, there's some things we do. This is how people are in life. They ask for what they want, but our job as wholesalers to do what? Find out what they
need.
Yes. And that is just the art of the conversation. Not everyone's going to cooperate with you, Ari. But like when I hear price to price over again, I just go, why don't you just list it with a realtor? Like, does that work against us? No, you need to find out now. They're like, I talked to a realtor. They said, well, I can't sell the property in its current condition until I put X amount of dollars in it. How much did they tell you to put into it? I don't know, like 10 grand. Okay, so why don't you just put the 10 grand into it? Well, I don't really have the money to do that. That's why I'm talking to you. I go, okay. I always say, listen, if you want to stop playing these games and you want to get like a real offer, move on. But by the way, it can't hurt to make a low offer, but without a true connection with people, it usually can be a waste of time. So if you're not putting a lot of energy into it and you want to put an offer in, I prefer to use the go for no method because I want to get a subconscious reaction to them. Unconscious. What are they thinking? She's got a number in her head and it might be way too high. And I agree. I don't want to write yes offers all day. I got time for it. But every now and then you got to test people out.
Yeah. I asked her what her number is. She said, I'd rather not spill the beans.
Well, how are we going to get to it? So then
she said,
that's your ticket to do a go for no. And then when she reacts to you, and she will react. Remember, we're talking today about the difference between a reaction and a response, right? A reaction is gut raw emotion, like no filter. I'm coming at you with everything I got. And it might not be pretty. A response is, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I believe the fair thing would be to, like, it's a logical explanation without emotion attached to it. It doesn't mean you don't care, but one has boundaries and the other doesn't. And so when people react, you can get wild conversations. And when you just stay, you ever meet those people that I have two friends of mine, completely different business want to do. The coolest, calmest people you'll meet, but got a lot of issues in their life. And I'm just like, how do you keep that composed? Like I could tell them, listen, a train just knocked your entire building down. All your kids were taken hostage and your wife left you. And you go, well, that's going to be a challenge. And I'm just like, and I find it ironic when people react like that. Your job, honestly, a lot of the techniques I teach you is teaching about how to harvest the reaction. Here's the difference. You have to be the response person. You respond, they react. We always respond, they react. And once you understand that, the reaction is the raw emotion you can use for data to cultivate your offer. But I agree, if it's purely priced, there's nothing I can do. But find out if the property has challenges, meaning this case scenario, the property would be motivated, the seller is not. But I find when the property is motivated, sooner or later, they're going to have to come to the terms to make a decision, because the market is not kind. The market is very mean to people that aren't realistic with their expectations. So if it's a terrible, terrible house and they've run it down and they're just selling it because they're out of money, they're going to have to accept what the market will give them. And the market sometimes can be worse than you and me.
I mean, it's right. The house seems to be motivated, although it's a two family. So one family, somebody lives there and they pay whatever they pay. Yeah. And then the electrical, is old school, hasn't been done. And, she told me it has the old school, like the switches or whatever from back when I was a kid.
It sounds like a tired old property. And then what happens is they harvest all the money they can out of it. And at some point they have to do major upgrades, electrical, plumbing, flooring. And they go,
right.
That's like 30, 50 grand. And let me cash out. And they get this delusional thing, like they're going to get full market price without doing the repairs. And there's only two things that can fix their attitude. You know what they are?
Mm-hmm.
Time and circumstance. That's it. And you and me are not in control of time and their circumstances. Circumstances is the market's going to punish them for 3 to 6 months. And then they're going to have that sobering conversation. Remember, I talked earlier about they've got to start being honest with themselves. 100 people have looked at the property and no one wants to make an offer. There's something wrong. The problem is the property is trashed and you're asking for a full price offer in a perfect condition, and something has to give, and it's always has to be that seller. So I've never seen a seller rewarded for a crappy property on the market. They always get punished. Guys, listen, I've put brand new houses on the market and I still get picked apart. I don't like this one. It's like, people are people, man. And so I think she's got a really bad property. I think it's a distressed property. It's a motivated property, but not a motivated seller. So all you can do is follow up, and you have to decide how much you want to drive yourself nuts. But she will eventually probably cave by the end of the year. If she's just starting out, it's a 6 to 9 month process on average for them that get the realization going. I think I made a mistake. But remember, it's the egos driving it. It's all price. I'm right. There's nothing you can do. And there's nothing you can do with those type of people. But wait a minute. Okay? Doing all the right things. Okay.
And in terms of comping the property, do I just, being that somebody lives in the apartment and it's going to be sold as is, I'm guessing that changes the way I comp the property, I guess.
Well, there's two ways. Number one, try to find any comps for duplexes in that area. And then number two, figure out what the cash flow is. The one side where a family or someone's living in, figure what that would get and what the existing units get. And then you can kind of make a balanced offer based on that. And people like, oh, no, you could get way more if you fix it up. I go, yeah, if. But why don't you just put the 50 grand into it and I'll pay you more and we can do it that way. They'll never do it. They'll never, ever take you up on it. So you don't have to worry about it. So one are comps because it's a duplex. You still have to look at comps, and then you look at cash flow too. So what's the one unit getting?
The one unit is honestly, I didn't even collect that information. It's the first person to tell me that they're interested in selling. So I'm kind of I kind of got.
Remember, you're gonna have to 10x your effort because you have to go through these are motivated properties. And when the seller's not motivated, the only thing fixes this is really time. So you got to let them suffer a little bit. And then we just follow up with them. We call them every few months and go, hey, did you get that property sold? I already know the answer to it. I know you didn't sell it. And then after a while, but some people, I call this chasing the dog's tail. So what happens a lot of times in the market, people put it up for full retail, but the property is really down here. And then sometimes markets unwind a little bit and the ebb and flow of inventory and the price drops. And guess what? The price drops and then the gap is still just as big and they just keep dropping it a little bit till after a year, they finally go to what am I doing? Why can't I sell this property? I'm like, you might want to sell yourself the truth. And that's the problem with these types of properties. So don't spend too much energy and time on it because I don't think it's going to be ideal, but I would put them up in your follow-up. And I would tag it as a motivated property. So motivated sellers are much easier than motivated properties. If you get a motivated seller and a motivated property, there's no selling in this business. You just qualify them and move forward. But remember, you got to kind of find that needle in the haystack. So the only way you can do it is you got to put more leads into the pipeline to sort through.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that it's easier to work on the property that has a motivated seller, right? As opposed to a motivated property. Got it.
You can have the most motivated property in the world and a very difficult seller. And it's like, I don't understand. The property needs 150 grand of work. It's been vacant for 4 years, and you still keep hanging on. I've had someone had a property, ideal property on the market for 4 years. She waited 4 years. Here's the crazy part. She eventually got her price, but did she really get her price? Because all she did was wait till the market went up to get to that number. So she kind of did it backwards. Some people are very stubborn on their price. Like, they are not my cup of tea. I just do not deal with people like that very well at all.
Got it.
So just go find more leads and then put them in your follow-up, kind of go from there, because nobody else is going to buy that property without a substantial discount.
Got it. Can I ask you one other quick question regarding the group?
Yes.
I think something is wrong with my Facebook account. Like, whenever I post a question, it just disappears.
Okay, so let's go over there. What's your question you're posting?
I posted a question regarding a probate or general. Only my first post got posted, and I'm wondering maybe I haven't.
So let me clarify for everybody. So like right now, we are the largest Facebook wholesaling group in the world. Almost 140. Where's your phone? Almost 140,000 people. So give a little credit, like the amount of posts that go through there. I have to pay someone to sort through. When we were letting everything go through, the spam was so out of control, people were getting really upset. So here's the problem. 9 times out of 10, if you just read the rules to the group, we honor and respect to do them. Here's the number one post out there. And this is it's 100% going to be declined. Where are all my cash buyers out there in Kansas City?
That's not me.
I get 60 to 70 of those per day minimum. I get, and most of the questions are answered in freewholesaling.com. But if your question has no value to anyone else, and it is a constant redundant question that can be answered freewholesaling.com, it's going to get removed because it gets annoying. Also, we tell people not to post and try to sell your properties on there. Why? Because it just gets too scammy. I put it in there. I get over 150 requests a day on people trying to sell properties on it. And then my favorite one is all the gurus and all the people who think they're so slick to offer coaching programs through my free Facebook group. It's filtered. So people just waste their time. And I'm like, sometimes the questions, if they're the exact same questions that get asked every day in freewholesaling.com, we ask you to refer over there to do it. Because here's the problem is, imagine going to Wholesaling Houses for Real and having to get through 200 BS posts just to find like one authentic question. And that's the problem. So I love our size, but the downside is we have to filter. And by the way, for all you VAs watching this and all you like really smart wholesalers that decide to join the group and the next day post 5 spam things, you're instantly deleted and banned. You're literally just wasting your time. So I will look through it again, Ari. If you provide value and you provide questions that make people think and outside the box, and you're not spamming and you're not self-promoting and you're not being lazy, it gets posted. If it does not meet those parameters, it doesn't get posted. And because on average, we put up about 80 to 90 posts a day, and it's a lot to go through. So of that, 300 get rejected. We don't sit here and target you guys. I have a person, they know what my rules are, what me and Zach's are, and we sort through it. And not everything should be, if everything got posted, you would never go to Wholesaling Houses for Real. Can you imagine 100 requests about where my cash buyer is at? It's like, and by the way, most of the problems with our group are a derivative of gurus teaching really bad techniques. Who joins the group in one day and then puts in 5 spam posts? That's like ridiculous. So what people don't understand, we've set up bots, we have employees, we do everything we can to make it as productive as possible. So don't take it personal. Just ask yourself, is this post going to offer value to everyone who's part of it? Am I self-promoting, Or do I have a genuine problem that other people can learn from? If it is, I make sure it goes through. And by the way, I sit down with them twice a week and we kind of go over, and she'll pull out, she goes, what do you think of these 3 posts? And like, we have a discussion, and it's a learning process. So guys, it costs money to go through these groups, and we enjoy everybody out, but there's no other, all the other wholesaling groups, it's all spam. It's all people trying to sell you crap, and we don't do that. So we have to have a filter on it to make sure it's authentic, to protect you. Otherwise, and by the way, me and Zach get over 20 requests a day about people DMing you, trying to get into your pocketbooks to try to sell you something. And we tell you, call them out. They send us through the name, and we remove them altogether. So we would be around 250,000 members if I didn't filter out. By the way, the amount of people I've banned in wholesaling houses for real is staggering. It's really bad. So, but if people are going to be scammers, I don't want them to go through there. So hopefully that provides value to what you guys post. And please don't send me a personal message like, why did my post not get approved? I'm not doing that stuff. If it doesn't make sense, I promise you that's why it didn't go through. Occasionally we do make mistakes, but for the most part, that's the answer to the question. Got it, Ari? Okay. I think Ari got cut out here. Okay, let's take some more. Christy, what's going on?
Hi. I'm just getting started, and I signed up last night for the free wholesaling class. Is there a waiting list?
No, it's free.
Or I'm trying to figure out, where do I start at, because I'm trying to learn the ARV. I'm trying to figure out, where do I get the government list from?
So here's what you do. Go to freewholesaling.com. All you have to do is put in your email and you're registered. If you're having problems, I'm not a computer guy, okay? So like, you got to be able to get through this basic part. You can do it like an incognito tab through Google. Sometimes people go in and out of there and it creates problems. And what it'll do is send you an email with your username and your password to get in there. And the first section is going to be marketing. That's where you want to spend most of your time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're in the right place, but like you gotta, there's no barriers to entry unless I've banned you on it. And if you're new, you have no issues with there. So, and it breaks it down in multiple sections. It's a lot of information, but just start where everybody needs the most help is when getting started and learning on marketing and learning to get the right motivated seller list. And that's where you need to spend most of your energy. So it's all in there. Just go in there. And if you're having a problem, either go on a different computer or go in like an incognito tab. And then what it'll do is you'll create a password, and then you can go anywhere. You can view it on your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever you need from there.
Okay, so what about the free government list? Is that all in that too?
All in there, dear. I mean, the whole thing. I got 28 years of experience in there, and I update it on a bi-monthly basis. So have you been in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking at the ARV today.
Yeah, ARV is the easy part. It's just a math problem. Like, don't get hung up on it.
It seems like it's difficult because I'm just starting out.
So, Christy, how old are you?
Oh, 36.
Okay. So it's only difficult because you're not used to it, period. So we all kind of, so I started wholesaling when I was 33. I thought it was terribly difficult. I'm like, you know, the reality is it's just different. And if you understand that and you listen to your vocabulary, like, I want to do something different because I need a change. So what's your main reason for doing wholesaling?
Get my financial situation better, to a better place.
So it's just different. It's not hard. It's just different. And that's what you've got to understand. And you got to start telling your story. Like, I'm wide open to do this, but understanding I have to go through this. The idea is, if you pick away at the logical explanation we show you how to do in freewholesaling.com, it'll work. You can't jump to the end. You got to start with marketing and learning just how to get the right list and talking to people. Because if you don't master that, the rest of the stuff is going to be useless. It is not like how you went through high school and stuff like that, where you went through schooling and you read study for months on end and you take a test. No, you consume the information, you watch it again, and then you start looking on the internet what you need to do, and then you go take a specific action. And then if you have a question, you go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real, you come in here on the live, and we kind of work you through it. That's it. I taught my son how to do it in high school. Like, he had no background, no experience, and he was actually really smart. He's like, he just didn't know how to do it. And that's you're in the same thing. I was in the same thing when I started. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter about your background. Nobody cares. The questions, are you willing to do this stuff going forward? Is it different? Absolutely. Is it hard and complicated? No, it's not. It's just new. Anything you do new in life is complicated, period. If I tried to do women's hair, I would lose my mind, because I think it's mind-boggling what you people go through between my daughter, my wife, and my sisters. I don't know how to do hair. Like, I barely just manage this little like comb of hair. So whenever we change in life, if you really want it bad enough, you're like, okay, I'll get through this. And it makes you uncomfortable, but that's fine. That means you're going in the right direction. Okay. So go through that freewholesaling.com and just work through it. You got to just go, if you really want it, you'll go through it. That's like sitting down and having a 2-hour discussion with me one-on-one. Once you do that, then the quality of your questions after that will determine what you're going to do going forward.
Okay.
Okay. You got it?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Christy. Okay. See you. Okay, JD, what's going on, man?
Hi, Rick. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Well, the reason why I was the reason why I came on this live today is just I wanted to ask about Facebook digital bandit signs. And I wanted to ask how to get around the no promotion and spam for most Facebook groups.
Well, it's you got to do it somewhat organically. So listen, I don't allow it in our group. So I'm not a hypocrite, but there's a difference between a person being shameless about it and a person kind of bridging it into a comment. So here's an example. I get people who, like, when I'm done with this live stream and my Flip with Rick Plus, I will sit and go through and look and see which ones my assistant kicked out and which ones doesn't. And there's a pattern. When people join within 48 hours and then they do a self-promotion, a shameless promotion, I don't want anything to do with them, because they don't respect the rules and stuff. Why? Number one, because they didn't organically join my group. They just joined the group so they could promote. Those people have a one-sided agenda, and I don't want to deal with them. And you got to look at that when you deal with groups too. The way we teach you how to do it is start out organically so you can kind of get past that. And number two, you have to bridge your comments. And you can also use AI. Zach did a really cool video on how you can use AI through Chat GPT and all other stuff to so if I was in a Georgia Bulldogs football fan group, and I've been there for like 3 years because that's my team, I could put a post, go Bulldogs. I love the Bulldogs. And a lot of times you can tie in there. You can use a graphic representation. So like Bulldogs love to buy houses and your phone number on there, and like an I buy house type of thing. And that passes. See, you got to just learn to be resourceful. Here's the problem. If you're joining a group and within 48 hours you're spamming it, Facebook has a filter built in where we can sort those people out beforehand. You're just wasting time. So number one is the organic approach. Are you doing the organic approach or just the join and paste?
No, I don't. I haven't posted yet, but I post on Craigslist.
Yeah.
But I want to get started on Facebook. So
Facebook, you got to start out doing it organically. The groups you're already authentically involved in. So like I do a lot of fishing and boating groups. So I naturally put up there and I put up a post, hey, caught a whopper. If you need help getting your whopper sold, these are the type of houses I buy. I'll put a picture with me in front of it and maybe a fish or something like that. Now you can use AI to generate these graphics for you in seconds, if not minutes. It's disgusting what you can do. So I could have a boat background, a fishing background, a football theme background, and put up a picture, and I pass the snuff test there. It's not a guarantee you do it. The other way is you can do the bandit comments too on the paid ads. Have you tried that?
No, not yet.
Yeah. So you understand how that works, right?
Can you give me an example?
So basically you take, I'm not going to use big companies' names here because I get in trouble, but there's a lot of gurus out there that teach wholesalers how to post paid traffic on Facebook. And basically they'll have a simple landing page that says, I buy houses fast for cash. And either you click on that and fill out a form or you call on a phone number. But they forget, most people leave comments. And remember, they're paying a third party to do this. And most wholesalers are pretty cheap. They don't want to pay for them to answer the comments. So the comments sit unanswered for weeks, if not months. In those comments, there's actually leads. And I have someone that just snipers them. Hey, how much will you pay me for my house? Write to a DM. Hey, can I get you on the phone? I can give you a price over the phone. And we just go aggressively. Remember, online has to go with speed. So those are what we call bandit comments, because if I hire a company to outsource my my Facebook marketing, I'll get the web page, I'll get the phone call, but I don't get the comments, and they never touch them. I've gotten more deals off of comments, and I have hundreds, if not thousands, of people got deals off of them. Remember, those people are paying between $3,000 and $6,000 a month, so it's free traffic for you. Once you get on there, I have one right now. I have 9 leads all posted on one. So the guy just called our company 2 days ago. He's like, I'm going to sue you. You do whatever you want. You have a decision to make. Turn the comments on or off. And if you turn the comments off, people think you're a scam artist. So they have to leave them on. So it's just a technique. This is the art of being resourceful as a wholesaler. You can have a wholesaler, which I call an average wholesaler, that hires a guru and says, outsource your Facebook marketing. I'll pay you a ton of money. You didn't think at all. You just used resources, where I teach people with little to no money to be resourceful. Once you learn how to be resourceful, when you have money, you're an extremely dangerous wholesaler. And that's where I thrive the most. My marketing dollars are pennies compared to what any of my competition does. In fact, just in this, I've never spent a dime on any advertising. I got our group has one of the biggest followings in the entire country. We've never spent a dime on advertising. People have spent millions of dollars to get what we get. And I get it. Why? Because we just tell you the truth and show you how to do it. Does it make sense to you on the bandit comments?
Yes.
It works really well. Like, there's some people just fall asleep at the wheel. I don't know. That's not fair. Guys, it's capitalism, man. Like, whatever's fair is fair. There's nothing illegal about it. Once Facebook allows comments, it's fair game. Either you're going to fill out a landing page, they're going to call, they're going to do a comments. And 50% of them fill out the comments first. Switch them over to a DM. That's a fair lead. And there's nothing illegal about doing it. Sorry. End of story. You got it?
And well, do we have time for one more question? Or
yes, go.
So I've been doing Craigslist like posts around like multiple markets, but when I post them all like in a short amount of time, they all get removed. Like, how often should how should I spread the post for time wise so I don't get my post banned?
You're just going to have to test it out. So, by the way, Craigslist it's much more difficult now, but every market's a little bit different. So it's based on the amount of traffic and the posting. So post like once a day, see how that works. And then I would just keep narrowing it. And then you should be able to find out where the cutoff is. Is it every 4 hours? Is it every 6 hours? Is it every hour? I don't know. It's different in every market because they have somebody else that supervises it. So you just have to test it out.
Okay. Sounds good.
Process of elimination. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, guys, here's what I want to do. I put on the bottom here for Flip with Rick Plus. We're getting ready to do an opening. We have the event coming up, April 24th, 25th. I'm really excited about going to Dallas. I have no idea what to expect other than some great conversations about wholesaling and getting the truth and helping out as many people as possible. So I'm actually going to be there all week. So we're going to do some fun stuff while we're there. We're probably going to do a live event while we're there as well, too. So it's going to be very interactive. So if you ever thought about getting Flip with Rick Plus, make sure you get on that waiting list. Zach is going to be back in about a day, and we're going to click a button, open it up, and the ones that want to take action and move forward, those are the ones we let in. This is not for everyone. And remember, it's additional support. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to jump on the Flip with Rick Plus, answer as many questions as I can, help them with marketing worksheets, helping them work on their deals, and then setting them up so I meet with them twice a year live in person. I love doing this. So guys, Make sure if you got value from today, you smash that like button. And as usual, make sure you subscribe to this channel. One of the greatest compliments you can give to me and Zach, because we've never spent a dime on marketing on this. So by growing it exponentially, while all other gurus do the paid for marketing services, it's just funny. I am an extremely resourceful wholesaler, and that's the trait I teach you the most. So by doing that, subscribe, that helps us out a lot. And I appreciate you guys. So guys, have a good one. Join us in Flip with Rick Plus. We're going to open it up probably in the next 48 hours. If you're on the list, you have a good shot at getting in. If not, then maybe next time.